You're coming up on 7:59 on your Wednesday morning drive. Not great out there this morning for sure. Let's pick it up south of Clackamas. This is in the Gladstone area. Your 205 south commute's pretty plugged up from there down to the Abernathy Bridge. Our speed sensors show about 11 miles an hour. On the other side of town, the trip north out of Wilsonville hits the brakes near 205, and then again from Capitol Highway all the way into downtown. No crashes to report, but that is a slow commute and getting slower. In fact, it has jumped up to 46 minutes to get you in from Wilsonville at last check to downtown. Speaking of downtown, it's bright, it's sunny, and it's about as warm as it was yesterday, this time 60. But the forecast today actually nowhere near as warm as yesterday. We wound up 89 at PDX officially at the airport. Vancouver hit 90. Today I've got us topping out at about 80 or 81 degrees this afternoon. You will notice instead of the northeast breeze, a gusty west breeze picking up late this afternoon. That'll usher in even cooler air with some morning clouds on Thursday. But our 7-day forecast keeps us dry until Saturday night and early Sunday.
Right now on KGW Plus, the fate of Oregon's massive transportation bill is on hold yet again. The next steps and why some lawmakers say it's just a temporary fix. Plus,
the federal government is exceeding their authority in this regard.
Oregon's Attorney General responding to the Trump administration and the Department of Justice after the DOJ filed a lawsuit against the state. Why Oregon is being sued, coming up. Also ahead.
It's really disappointing because it helps a lot of people get off the street.
a homeless village in Longview is closing next month after 3 years of helping families. Why the city says it can't keep funding the shelter and why so far no one who qualifies has stepped in to take over. Then later.
They are the top predator of the ocean. Literally, it's as though Tyrannosaurus Rex has got its eyes set on you.
Talking about orcas ramming more boats off the coast of Portugal. Why these orca encounters are on the rise. The 8 o'clock hour of Sunrise starts right now.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us live at 8 o'clock. I'm China Green.
And I'm Drew Carney. Chris McGinnis, meanwhile, handling the job of two men again this morning. He's got the weather, he's got the traffic. Let's start with the forecast, Chris.
Well, let's make the sun come up. There, we did that. That was easy. It's gorgeous out there this morning, and it's also quite mild. We're starting off with 60 degrees last check at PDX. We'll take you down to Salem. It's clear there as well, 57. It is cloudy along the Oregon coast. This is the live look from our Chinook Winds Casino Resort camera in Lincoln City, and Cascade Head off in the distance starting to get shrouded out, but maybe a little mist, drizzle, or fog, and certainly some cloud cover up top. All right, elsewhere across the region, it's 56 in Beaverton, 58 Wilsonville, and Almsville waking up to 54. The plan for today, sunny, but not as hot as yesterday. We'll be in the mid-70s at lunchtime here in Portland, and I've got us topping out around 81 degrees this afternoon. You will notice a northwest breeze picking up late in the day, 10 to 20. And that will usher in a little bit more marine influence overnight. That means Thursday we'll wake up to some cloud cover. So we'll check that out in your 7-day forecast in just a few minutes. Let's check out the drive. It's not as bad as yesterday, but it's not good. I-5 from Wilsonville right now leads the way. That has spiked up to 48 minutes at last check. Here's the look at Capitol Highway. All 3 lanes slow and go heading up into downtown. I don't have any crashes to report there, but it's just a really thick drive at this point. And here's a look at I-205, by the way, through the Gladstone area. Our speed sensors show that puttering along at about 11 miles an hour. So a couple of slow spots for sure. At this point, though, the freeways are about what we would expect for this hour of a Wednesday morning commute. Drew, China.
All right, thank you, Chris. Top story here at 8 o'clock. Oregon lawmakers have once again postponed the vote on a funding bill designed to provide Oregon transportation agencies with billions of dollars.
The vote on the controversial bill has already been delayed several times after a larger version of the legislation did not pass in June. So Sunrise reporter Thomas Schultz joins us in the newsroom. Thomas, what is the reason for the delay this time?
Well, guys, same as the last time, the state Senate is waiting on one lawmaker, Democratic Senator Chris Gorsuch, who continues to recover from health complications after back surgery. Earlier this month, the House passed the transportation funding bill largely along party lines. The legislation would prevent service cuts and hundreds of layoffs at ODOT, though it would also add a 6-cent gas tax hike and large increases in title and registration fees, which Republicans have long pushed back against, saying Oregonians just can't afford any more taxes. In June, Democrats were unable to pass a larger transportation bill worth $12 billion, possibly their most important goal in the legislative session. In a statement, Democratic Senate President Rob Wagner addressed the delay, saying in part the bill is important for all Oregonians who rely on our roads and the maintenance workers whose jobs are at risk. At the same time, we are not going to do anything that would put the health of our colleague at risk. Republicans fired back with Republican Senate leader Bruce Starr saying while they hope Gorsuch makes a full recovery, the entire situation is avoidable. Adding Governor Kotek could have worked with Republicans from the beginning to craft a transportation package with true bipartisan support. Now, even if this bill does eventually pass, Democrats say it's more of a Band-Aid. They say more funding is needed in the future to support not only those transportation agencies, but those workers' jobs. Drew.
All right, Thomas Schultz covering that story for us in the newsroom. Meanwhile, the U.S. Justice Department is taking both Oregon and Maine to court, accusing both states of breaking federal law. The Trump administration says this lawsuit stems from the states refusing to hand over voter information. Sunrise reporter Corey Johnson is live in downtown Portland with more on this story. Corey?
That's right, Drew. The Trump administration says the secretaries of state of both Oregon and Maine refused to hand over voter data at the Justice Department's request. Now, according to the DOJ lawsuit that was announced Tuesday, Oregon refused to produce a current unredacted electronic copy of the state's voter registration list, information on the state's voter list maintenance program, and would not disclose registration info for any ineligible voters. Now, the DOJ alleges that violates the National Voter Registration Act, the Help America Vote Act, and the Civil Rights Act of 1960. But Oregon Secretary of State Tobias Reed rejected the Justice Department's request last month, saying that complying could violate Oregon's privacy laws.
The federal government is exceeding their authority in this regard. They're entitled to public records like anyone else, and if they want to fill out the form and pay the fee, we'll provide them that public record. But it does not include social security numbers, dates of birth, signatures, driver's license information.
An attorney for the DOJ said in the statement on the lawsuit, in part, quote, states simply cannot pick and choose which federal laws they will comply with, including our voting laws. Now, Steve Hobbs, the Secretary of State for Washington, said he received a similar request last week for private voter information. He says that he does not intend to comply. Drew?
Thank you, Corey.
Two men who allegedly enticed a 13-year-old girl into 3 years of prostitution will face 19 and 15 years in prison. So the Multnomah County DA's office says Dominic Williams met the girl in 2021, then trafficked her on the street in Multnomah County. The other defendant, Khalif Newcomb, trafficked the victim when she was separated from Williams. In a statement, the prosecutor said, quote, I am extremely proud that this brave young woman is coming forward to relive and report some of the most violent and traumatizing events of her life. Her courage led to holding 5 dangerous men accountable for some of the most awful crimes in our community, buying and selling children for sex. 3 other people are facing charges, including purchasing sex with a minor. Skeletal remains found nearly 50 years ago have now been identified as a missing tigered woman. DNA helped identify the remains of Marion Vanetta Nagel McWhorter. She was 21 years old when she was last seen at a tigered shopping mall back in 1974. A hiker found her skull 2 years later. The Lynn County Sheriff's Office is now working to determine how she died.
Oregon State Police are trying to track down 2 people accused of trespassing and poaching elk in Wasco County. Investigators say a trail camera caught the suspects gutting and taking a cow elk on private property near the town of Antelope shortly after 4:30 in the morning back on September 6th. Police also believe the suspect's car is a 2001 to 2004 light-colored Nissan Frontier with an older canopy and a roof rack. We're taking a look at the car right there. There's a $1,000 reward for any information that leads to finding or arresting this pair. You can send tips to state police online at osp.oregon.gov.
The Humane Society for Southwest Washington says it's seen a 23% increase in the number of cats it's taking in compared to this time last year. To help them find new forever homes, the Humane Society is waiving adoption fees for cats 6 months and older this Friday through Sunday. To learn more, go to the Humane Society for Southwest Washington's website.
All right, cat-loving Chris McGinnis, what's the Wednesday
We
forecast?
had a cat. What up? My dad had a cat, so there you go. We like the cat. It was a Persian, really cute with this squinched up face. Hey, let's talk about yesterday real quick, kind of putting a bow on that hot day that was Tuesday. Salem, Aurora, Eugene hit 93 degrees, tying records there. McMinnville 92. Vancouver hit 90, PDX 89. Those were not records, but obviously warm enough. Astoria hit 89 along the North Oregon coast as well, breaking your record of 85. So it was a toasty Tuesday. Today we're going to dial back the heat several degrees. It will be cooler. It's going to be a little breezy this afternoon. Dry through Saturday, and the possible weekend showers now, it looks like the focal point there is going to be overnight Saturday and into Sunday. You'll see that in my 7-day forecast. Bright sunshine out there right now. It's 60 degrees at PDX. Meanwhile, at the coast, beginning to see the change as the onshore push, inducing a little mist and maybe some drizzle there at Cascade Head off in the distance. That's the live look from our Chinook Winds Casino Resort camera in Lincoln City. Also have some cloud cover moving in, and that will be the leading edge of our difference maker for today. You probably won't notice much out there today from a sky condition perspective. We may see some high clouds pass overhead, but when that front passes, the winds are going to ratchet up a little bit, so you will feel that northwest wind gust later this afternoon. The other thing that will do is help thicken up the marine layer for tomorrow morning. So Thursday will likely be one of those days where we wake up to clouds and finish with sunshine. Today, mid-70s at lunchtime, and Futurecast has Portland topping out at about 81 degrees, 82 in Salem. So again, a good 8 to 10, maybe 12 degrees cooler for the west side of the state compared to yesterday. And that cooling trend continues into Thursday as well with the morning clouds. Friday looks great. Again, Saturday, most of Saturday dry. I don't think rain gets in here now until probably Saturday night or Sunday morning. So Sunday's the wet day, Saturday the dry day for your weekend. And fall, that still arrives on Monday. All right, let's get you out the door. A quick look at your drive. Not great out there this morning. We've got a number of slow spots, and I think the slowest of our drives now is the trip in from Wilsonville. The drive over the Boone Bridge, puttering along at about 16 miles an hour. Here's a live look near the 205 interchange. Again, the northbound commute moving from right to left. That's pretty heavy. And you hit the brakes again from Capitol Highway all the way into downtown. So with that in mind, the trip getting in from Wilsonville Road to downtown has jumped up to 47 minutes. That's probably the slowest of our inbound commutes. Highway 26, not great, about 32 minutes from Hillsborough. And the drive out of Clark County, slow and steady over the interstate bridge as always. Just shy of 30 to get you in from Hazeldale to I-405. Guys?
Thank you, Chris.
They're not out consciously doing harm to boats, but it is a behavior that is causing harm ultimately.
Orcas at it again, ramming boats off the coast of Portugal. This time they sank one and damaged another. Coming up, why wildlife officials believe these orca-human encounters are happening more often. Plus,
a day of pomp and pageantry for President Trump's unprecedented state visit to the UK. I'm Alice Barr at Windsor Castle, where an extraordinary security presence is in place. We've seen some protests amid deep divisions on both sides of the Atlantic.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
All right, take a look at this. Orcas ramming more boats off the coast of Portugal. This time around, they sank one and damaged another. Now, no one was injured this time, but wildlife officials say incidents like this one are just on the rise in recent years.
Yeah, they're also reminding boaters that they're the ones invading the Orcas territory. NBC's Molly Hunter has more.
Heart-stopping video, a pod of orcas swarms a tourist sailboat, ramming the vessel repeatedly. Circling the boat, carrying 5 people over the weekend, about 5 miles off the coast of Portugal. In video shared by the Portuguese nautical center Terra Incognita, you can see the crew start to panic, and the boat eventually goes under, the bow tipping into the water and sinking. The Portuguese Navy says all 5 people were safely rescued without injury. And later that day, the Navy says another incident with the same pod of orcas. It's part of an uptick over the last 5 years. Hundreds of orca run-ins have been recorded, mostly here off the coast of Portugal and Spain. The encounters can be alarming.
They are the top predator of the ocean. Literally, it's as though Tyrannosaurus Rex has got its eyes set on you.
But experts say they're not targeting humans. The orcas often sink their teeth into boat rudders, getting pulled along, but rudders aren't designed for that kind of force.
They're not out consciously doing harm to boats, but it is a behavior that is causing harm ultimately.
Iberian orcas are critically endangered. Scientists say the population number fewer than 50. Orcas are the largest member of the dolphin family. They can grow 32 feet long and weigh 6 tons, living as long as 90 years. Back in May of 2023, a sunset sail dramatically interrupted by a pod of orcas, destroying the rudder, piercing the hull. The trend started back in 2020, and scientists still don't know exactly why.
I think the reality here is they are targeting boats, and it seems to be a play behavior engaged by young males, but it's behavior that has gotten out of hand.
All right, from the Portugal coast, we go to the Oregon coast. A live look from our Chinook Winds Casino Skycam there in Lincoln City. My goodness, I didn't think I realized how cloudy it was there to start the day, because it's a much different beginning to the day here in the valley.
That's the beginning of our change. So the beach is going to be a little cloudy this morning, and that cool push is going to work its way inland during the day today. So we'll track that for you with Futurecast. But the one thing I wanted to highlight was the possible weekend showers. So let me talk about this. So as we go into the weekend, we have been mentioning the chance of rain, but I wanted to show you what the latest runs of our models are showing us. And that is that the Saturday forecast actually doesn't look that bad in the Willamette Valley. We could see some pop-up showers east of the Cascades, but Saturday itself, this is at 6 o'clock Saturday afternoon, the I-5 corridor generally remaining dry, with that next weather maker staying offshore until maybe overnight Saturday or early Sunday. So at this point, your weekend forecast may be a little wet Saturday or excuse me, I got it the other way around. Dry Saturday, wet Sunday. All right, here's a live look from our Wells Fargo sky camera. It's bright, it's sunny, it's 60 degrees in downtown. Not a cloud in the sky over the state capitol right now at 57. Salem yesterday hit 93 degrees. We'll dial back that heat quite a bit today. And as we mentioned, the beach will also feel quite a difference. Astoria yesterday hit 89. That was a record. Nowhere near that today with the onshore push. As Drew mentioned, the beach looking pretty cloudy. And it's not easy to see here on the satellite radar imagery, but that low that's up in the Gulf of Alaska is pushing a cool front here towards the northwest coast. So if you look closely, there's a little bit of cloud cover there, and that will continue pushing. We'll try to push inland. I don't think the clouds do, but the wind shift will. And so we'll notice that wind shift later this afternoon. We'll also notice the cooler temperatures that we feel later today as well. All right, Futurecast does show us that marine layer deepens a bit tomorrow morning. Thursday, tomorrow, is a day that we likely wake up to some cloud cover, and then the clouds will dissipate and we'll finish the day with some sunshine. All right, Futurecast also shows the wind shift that we've been talking about. So yesterday was a really, really breezy day. We felt the east winds gusting all day long. We had a 32-mile-an-hour wind gust at the airport. Quiet to start our day, but the winds out of the west ratchet up later this afternoon, so you'll feel those as well. 60 at the airport, as we mentioned, 57 in Tigard, and down to the South Salem, waking up to 57 degrees. Our 7-day forecast shows a cooler afternoon today at 81 in Portland, 77 tomorrow with the morning clouds, and Friday looks like a pretty good day, mostly sunny, 78. Saturday also looks like a pretty good day, but Saturday night and Sunday, I think that's going to turn a little wet for the second half of the weekend. Of course, fall, the official arrival of fall, Monday with highs in the upper 70s. Okay, let's get you out the door. There is a live look at the trip out of Clark County. It's getting better on the I-5 commute, but it's still pretty slow. 33 minutes gets you in from Main Street to the Fremont Bridge. Quick look at the Banfield there. That's a little heavy coming in from 82nd Avenue. And the worst of the drive, the trip in from Wilsonville. At last report, 46 minutes now. We're slow in a bunch of places. There's the 205 interchange, northbound I-5 through the 205 interchange and up through Capitol Highway. Really puttering along there. So give yourself some extra time in from Wilsonville. No crashes reported, just a busy drive. In the 8 o'clock hour, we expect that. China and Drew, back to you.
Thank you, Chris. President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump arrived at Windsor Castle this morning to begin their state visit with the British royal family. Just ahead, the latest details on what President Trump hopes to accomplish during the trip.
KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
President Trump is visiting the UK today for his second state visit. He was greeted with a royal reception as he stays at Windsor Castle.
The president is working on trade deals with the UK this week in ways the two allies can help end the ongoing wars in Gaza and Ukraine. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest on this from outside Windsor Castle.
President Trump in the UK for an unprecedented second state visit by an American president. The royal reception at Windsor Castle, hosted by King Charles.
He's been a friend of mine for a long time, and everybody respects him.
With pageantry marked by full military honors and secured by an extraordinary police presence on land, air, and water.
We're going to be doing high visibility patrols, some searching, some specialist searching in and around the area.
In one sign of tightened security, an open carriage ride for the president, first lady, and the royal family, contained inside the castle grounds and out of public view, with a heightened threat environment prompting a top-to-bottom review.
A review of the routes being taken, the premises, the residents they're staying at, looking at any buildings that overlook those areas.
Protesters already gathering outside Windsor, some unfurling a giant photo of President Trump with Jeffrey Epstein, the scandal over the late sex offender rearing its head in the UK after the Prime Minister fired the British ambassador to the U.S. amid new details about his ties to Epstein. Protesters also speaking out on the escalating wars in Gaza and Ukraine, as President Trump again pressured Ukrainian President Zelensky to end the war Russia started.
You're going to have to get going and make a deal.
Solidarity for Ukraine sure to be top of mind in 2 days of meetings with one of America's closest allies.
The day's events will culminate in a royal banquet in Windsor Castle. Tomorrow, President Trump heads to meet with UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer at his country estate. Trade expected to feature prominently on the agenda. The president saying that the Prime Minister wants to refine the U.S.-UK trade deal. From Windsor Castle, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Now to your morning rush. The former director of the CDC, Susan Monterez, is expected to testify during a hearing today. She says Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. pressured her to endorse new vaccine recommendations before seeing any scientific evidence. According to a copy of her testimony obtained by the Associated Press, Monterez was given an ultimatum to either pre-approve the vaccine recommendations or be fired. The judge overseeing in the case of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson's murder has dismissed 2 murder charges related to terrorism against Luigi Mangione. The 27-year-old still faces federal charges and other state charges in Pennsylvania. Mangione has pleaded not guilty on all. The U.S. Department of Education says it's processed more than 300,000 student loan repayment plans applications in August, but over 1 million are still backlogged, along with 70,000 loan forgiveness requests. The updates come as the agency faces a lawsuit accusing it of denying borrowers fair access to relief. And Costco has issued a recall for its house brand of Prosecco. The company warns that the unopened bottles of bubbly are at risk of shattering even when they're not being handled. The recall does not apply to bottles sold in Oregon or Washington. And not to look at your morning rush.
I mean, I am a taxpayer, so taxpayer dollars down the toilet seems like a waste.
Reacting to the closure of a homeless village in Longview, coming up here at 8:30, the reason it's closing and what it means for the people who live there. Plus,
it's definitely not erupting.
Yeah, definitely not. That's the main headline after people saw ash swirling around Mount St. Helens yesterday. So no danger, but activity nonetheless. We're going to have the cause of this ash event also coming up in our next half hour.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On weather impact alert days, stream extended coverage on KGW+.
Good morning, I'm Drew Carney. The U.S. Justice Department is suing Oregon along with the state of Maine, accusing both states of breaking the law. The Trump administration says the secretaries of state in both states refused to hand over voter information that the Department of Justice requested. The DOJ calls it a violation of the National Voter Registration Act, the Help America Vote Act, and the Civil Rights Act of 1960. All right, Chris McGinnis, what do you have for us in the Weather Center?
Sunshine, but cooler today than yesterday. PDX hit 89 degrees. Vancouver 90 will dial back the heat a good 8 to 12 degrees across the Willamette Valley today. That said, we're off to a mild start, 60 last check at the airport, on our way to mid-70s by lunchtime. And I've got Portland topping out at 81 degrees this afternoon. Morning clouds thicken up early on Thursday morning. They'll give way to sunshine tomorrow with highs in the upper 70s. And the forecast heading into the weekend, so it looks a little better than it did yesterday. I think Saturday stays dry. Rain comes in Saturday night. Sunday looks a little wet.
The stakes were too high for one Arizona cow who busted out of a slaughterhouse and then took off down the street. In this viral video, fans on social media quickly nicknamed her Mutilda, and her dash for freedom inspired dozens of donors to chip in more than $2,000 to save her. Now, safe at Farm Sanctuary, Mutilda has traded a fate on the dinner plate for a new life of frolicking freedom.
When we talked about the story earlier this morning, a few hours ago, we talked about, it takes bravery to do what Mutilda did. And so therefore, Mutilda is?
Not a coward. Not a
There you
coward.
go. There you go. Take that headline with you this morning, wherever you go.
Brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, Christopher, you meat-loving lover, you.
All right, let's get you out the door. This is a live look right now of our Wells Fargo sky camera over downtown. The sun is up. It is out. It is 60 degrees last check at PDX. It's cloudy at the coast, and this is a sign of things to come. We're going to get an onshore push during the day today. Not much of a breeze out there this morning, but you'll notice a northwest breeze later today as that marine influence kicks in a little bit. So the plan for today, not as hot as yesterday. PDX hit 89 degrees yesterday. Vancouver hit 90. Salem hit 93. I think temperatures across the Willamette Valley as a whole are probably a good 8 to maybe 12 degrees cooler this afternoon. We'll keep the sunshine, but again, we dial back the heat just a little bit. We'll look at that cooler forecast going into the next couple days coming up in a few minutes. Let's get you out the door, and getting out the door is not fun if you're on the northbound I-5 commute. So we found the trouble spot, I think. There's a disabled vehicle, or was, on the northbound ramp up to the Markham Bridge, and that has got traffic intermittently backed up to Capitol Highway and then really thick through the 205 interchange and slow coming in from Wilsonville to the tune of about 50 minutes at last check. It was right there on the shoulder. It looks like ODOT may have gotten that out of the way, but it'll take a while for that commute to flush out. So that's one of our big slow spots. The inbound Sunset, earlier trouble near the tunnel. That's out of the way. 35 minutes, they'll get you in from Hillsborough. And the end of the line for the Clark County commute right there at the lower right-hand part of your screen has actually moved across the Interstate Bridge. So with that in mind, your drive in from Vancouver is about 30 minutes or so, bridge to bridge. China?
Thank you, Chris. A Monoma County man will spend more than 3 years in prison for using 2 teens to help him sell fentanyl. 57-year-old Olaf Lamont Johnson was sentenced to 40 months after Portland police caught him with a 14-year-old girl and 16-year-old boy who had loaded guns inside the SUV. Investigators say Johnson had 100 fentanyl pills and packaging materials in the car with him.
Portland police identified the man who was shot and killed near the Denny's at Northeast Grand and Holiday last week. The medical examiner determined that 25-year-old Hassani Abdi Musa died of a gunshot wound. Police were called to the scene around 11:30 last Tuesday night. Officers say Musa was already dead when they got there. His family has been notified.
A homeless village in Longview is set to close next month after serving people for years.
KGW's Blair Best explains why the Salvation Army is no longer qualified to run the site.
This tiny home village called Hope Village on the outskirts of Longview has been around for 3 years now. During that time, more than 100 people have transitioned into some form of housing. But a program that the city deems a success is now closing October 1st, and it all comes down to taxpayer dollars. For 3 years, this site has been paid for by Longview taxpayers along with other grants. The city wants to change that and make it so the group running the site can fund it themselves and be reimbursed by Medicaid. To do that, the provider needs to be a behavioral health agency. The Salvation Army, which has been running the site, is not, so they terminated their contract. So far, the city hasn't been able to find anyone to take it over, so the site is closing October 1st. As of this week, about 23 people staying at the site are trying to figure out where they will go next.
It's really disappointing because it helps a lot of people get off the street.
When we saw it, we realized pretty easily that we were no longer qualified. We couldn't even apply. Being in our third year, we were well entrenched into this program. We had gained a lot of ground. We were seeing many successes.
I mean, I'm a taxpayer, so taxpayer dollars down the toilet seems like a waste.
Now, we're told there's still about a dozen people inside the site that don't have a strong plan of where they'll go next. And the city of Longview recently passed a camping ban, so if they end up on the streets, they could face fines and possible jail time. In Longview, Washington, Blair Best, KGW News.
Portland families will soon have one less option for specialized pediatric care. Providence St. Vincent is closing its pediatric intensive care unit the first week of November. The hospital says they don't get enough patients in the unit. Providence says it's working with the nurses union to determine what's next for those who work in the pediatric ICU. All right, yesterday's hot weather and high winds created challenging conditions for firefighters in Forest Grove who had to race to put out a tractor that caught fire while cutting wheat. The wind pushed the fire across 7 acres near Gales Creek Road and Mystic Drive. Luckily, no one was hurt and no homes were damaged, but the tractor was destroyed.
A heads up for people in Deschutes and Jefferson counties who lost food purchased with SNAP benefits during last month's flat fire. They have until next Monday, September 22nd, to report any food losses and request replacement benefits.
Oregon's Attorney General Dan Rayfield is warning you about an uptick in EBT card skimming cases. Thieves hide skimming devices in payment terminals to steal card numbers and PINs. And in a statement, Rayfield said that he's seen 50% more money stolen in Oregon in the last 2 weeks than the previous 2 months combined. EBT cards are particularly vulnerable because they lack modern security features. He recommends that card holders should only use the official EBT website to manage their account and change their PIN regularly.
There's a new tree planting program in Portland that aims to bring more shade to parts of the city. The program's goal is to plant 10,000 trees a year in and around parts of North and Northeast Portland over the next several years. It's a nearly $2 million tree planting program funded by money that's been set aside for environmental projects here in the city.
ESF funds were voted on by Portlanders a number of years ago, and it's a really small percentage of large businesses' revenue that gets collected by the city to use specifically for climate resilience actions.
Volunteers will start planting trees in the next couple of weeks, and the program is set to continue through 2028. All right, you may have seen this or at least heard about this yesterday, a cloud of ash blowing around Mount St. Helens. The U.S. Geological Survey says high winds stirred up the ash left over on the mountain from its 1980 eruption. The ash yesterday attracted so much attention that the USGS had to put out an alert to let people know this was not another eruption.
So we're getting emails and phone calls, both from pilots and from the public, just saying that they're seeing an unusual amount of ash today, and they wanted to know if the volcano was erupting. It's definitely not erupting.
When St. Helens did erupt 45 years ago, ash traveled far and wide, but the ash swirling during yesterday's wind event didn't go very far at all. I mean, I'm not surprised that there was so much reaction to this. I would say when that event happened 45 years ago, right, the biggest news story in this area of all time. The eruption of Mount St. Helens, right? Would anyone argue with that? That is the biggest news story for the Portland area probably ever.
And you know, even for decades, anytime there was a little puff, like the newsroom would get would get a call, right?
There's a cloud over the mountain sometimes, Chris, that looks
a cloud cap. Oh no, but there's a UFO over the mountain. So one of the things that was obviously the wind driving that ash cloud off of the mountain yesterday, the wind also helping to downslope off the Cascades and really produce a hot day by mid-September standards. How hot? 93 in Salem, and Aurora and Eugene equaling or bettering records, 92 in McMinnville. Hillsborough and Vancouver both hit 90 degrees. 89 in Portland, not a record, but obviously quite warm. And Astoria, that was a record high for Astoria yesterday. All right, fast forward to today. We keep the sunshine, but we've lost the east breeze, and eventually that breeze will shift to the west and usher in cooler air for this afternoon and the next couple of days. But for now, it's bright, it's sunny, and it's 60. Last check at PDX. Elsewhere across the region, pair of fives right now in Hillsborough. Beaverton sits at 58, Salem at 57. We do have some clouds along the Oregon coast, and that is a sign of that change in weather pattern here, as in we'll get a little more onshore push, maybe a little drizzle possible at the coast this morning before you turn partly sunny. The breeze really ratchets up through the east end of the gorge later today, west winds 15 to 25. And we'll feel that breeze even in the I-5 corridor, which will in turn keep our temperatures a little cooler today. Again, 90 in Vancouver yesterday. Today you go to 81. Salem yesterday was 93. Today 82. And the same here in the Portland metro area. I've got high temperatures easing back to about 80 or so. And as I mentioned, that northwest breeze, you'll feel that later today, about 10 to 20 miles an hour. Overnight tonight, early tomorrow morning, we'll see the marine layer build in. So Thursday will be one of those morning cloud, afternoon sunshine days with highs in the upper 70s. Friday, Saturday look nice. And the update for the weekend is that we've slid the rain chance to overnight Saturday. So Saturday dry, Sunday wet, fall still arrives on Monday. All right, let's get you out the door. Here's a quick look at the drive this morning. Not great. It's getting better, but it's not great. Let's zoom into North Portland. The end of the line of the Clark County commute has made its way down to there, the Expo Center. From there, it is slow and go the rest of the way down into the Rose Quarter. The total commute in from Main Street to the Fremont Bridge is still averaging about 33 minutes. The other really slow spot this morning, it's getting better. I-5 near Capitol Highway. We had some trouble on the Markham Bridge. A disabled vehicle had a lane blocked for a little while. That's clear, but as always, guys, you can see that it's going to take a while to flush out that commute. The trip in from Wilsonville, if you're about to hop on the road right now, is averaging just under an hour. Back to you.
Thank you, Chris.
I look down to the side of my bed and there's already flames coming up.
A Cami man lost almost everything in a house fire except the pants that he was wearing and the Crocs on his feet. How his friends and neighbors are rallying to help him start over ahead on Sunrise.
Hey, I'm Blair Best, and tonight at 6:30 on this story, a Portland City Councilor says ICE detained 2 people in North Portland this week. This as conversations around the city's sanctuary status continue. The head of Portland's police union joins me live. Watch the story tonight live at 6:30 on KGW or anytime on our TV app, KGW+. Have a great morning, and I'll see you tonight.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yeah.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW+.
The friends of a 74-year-old Canby man are trying to help him rebuild his life after he lost nearly everything in a house fire.
Investigators believe an extension cord started the fire. Here's KGW's Catherine Cook with more.
The flames are coming out the front door.
Last Tuesday is a bit of a blur for Dick Paget. That's his Canby home going up in flames. He'd just woken up when he heard an electrical spark.
I looked down to the side of my bed and there's already flames coming up.
Paget tried to put out the flames, but it was no use. Within minutes, the whole house was on fire.
I had to grab a pair of pants and ran for the front door.
And that's about all he made it out with. The Crocs on his feet, those were in his car. He's thankful that wasn't destroyed, just a little melted. Everything else?
My cell phone's toast, and my iPad is toast.
Gone. And while it would be completely reasonable for Paget to just be focused on himself right now, he's not.
It's funny, I take a buddy to all of his doctor's appointments, but he has no way of getting in touch with me. He can't text me and say when his doctor's appointments are right now because I haven't got a phone yet.
Paget's been staying at a friend's house while his place is boarded up. Neighbors were glad to know he's okay.
Yeah, we've been worried about him, wanting to know how he's doing and stuff and what's happening with his house.
Well, right now I'm just happy to be alive.
Paget is retired. He says he won't know what, if anything, insurance will cover for quite a while. Friends started a GoFundMe to get him back on his feet. Paget says he told them not to at first, then realized it's okay to let others help him.
I've always been the one to give. And not ask. So, thank you.
Catherine Cook, KGW News.
All right, a couple of sports headlines for you this morning. The Blazers will mark the return of Damian Lillard this weekend with a special fan rally at Pioneer Courthouse Square. It's set to start at noon on Sunday. Dame will address the crowd and be part of a short Q&A session. The rally will also feature games, music, and food. Dame, of course, returned to the Blazers this offseason, but he won't be able to play for the team this coming season as he continues his long recovery from a torn Achilles. Baseball news, the Mariners' Cal Raleigh. Take a look at this. Making more history, he hit 2 homers last night against the Royals, numbers 55 and 56 on the season. So that means he passes Yankees legend Mickey Mantle for most home runs hit in a single season by a switch hitter. And he also tied Ken Griffey Jr. for most home runs ever hit in any season by any Mariner. He's got the team record. Well, he's tied right now. He needs one more to break it. Cal's contributions, part of a big blowout victory last night. The M's beat the Royals 12-5. It's actually their 10th win in a row, their longest winning streak since they won 14 straight in July of 2022.
What were we just talking about the other day?
I don't know. Tell me.
How are you not talking more about the Mariners? They are absolutely.
I overheard you talking to Brandon O'Rourke about that, our executive producer. Yeah.
We are in the thick of a. Well, they are in the thick of a pennant chase here. Yeah. So good for them.
Mariners are hot. Cal Raleigh's hot.
Yep.
Weather was hot yesterday.
Now we're going to dial it back. Yeah, it's still warm, right? Okay, let's get you out the door. Live look from our Wells Fargo Sky Camera 60. Last check at PDX. The not hot part of our forecast is courtesy of this cool front, which is working its way onshore here. The clouds are beginning to kick up at the coast. We may even squeeze out a little mist and drizzle from that cloud cover. It will pass the I-5 corridor without much fanfare today. About the only thing you'll notice, aside from a few passing high clouds, is a wind shift this afternoon, and it will turn breezy later today. But outside of that, really a nice looking day. Cloud cover should break up at the Oregon coast later this afternoon, only to rebuild with that marine push overnight tonight and into early tomorrow. So Thursday will be one of those days where we wake up to clouds and then the clouds clear out. I mentioned the wind shift. Here it is on the Futurecast. Wind gusts maybe 15 to 20 miles an hour in the valley later on this afternoon. Not as breezy as those really, really gusty east winds yesterday, but noticeable nonetheless. At the beach, this is kind of a cool shot. We've got the sun trying to kind of undercut that cloud cover a bit. It's a little misty. Some nice breakers there along the beach too as well. That's the live look from our Chinook Winds Casino Resort camera in Lincoln City. Beach, a little bit of cloud cover, some patchy drizzle this morning. The clouds should lift, but you will not be nearly as warm as yesterday. Remember, Astoria hit 89. You'll be in the 60s this afternoon. Still toasty in the East Gorge. Temperatures drop a good 8 to 10 degrees for the I-5 corridor. 81 in Vancouver today. Yesterday you were 90. 82 in Salem today. Yesterday you were 93. So not as hot as the call for the I-5 corridor, and that holds true here in Portland as well. I've got us topping out at 81 degrees and there is that northwest breeze later this afternoon on the order of about 10 to 20 miles an hour. Okay, real quick update on your weekend forecast. We've been kind of dangling that chance of rain out there for Saturday and Sunday. We've removed it from Saturday, and the reason why, here's a look at Futurecast. Our modeling over the last couple of runs has delayed the arrival of that next front, so this is at 6 o'clock Friday evening. It's possible we see some shower development across the Cascades and points east, but it now looks like the Willamette Valley and the I-5 corridor will remain dry for Saturday. That front, though, comes in overnight Saturday and into early Sunday, and so that means the weekend's kind of 50-50-ish. You'll see that reflected here in the 7-day forecast. I've got partly sunny Saturday with morning showers likely on Sunday and highs in the 70s. Of course, the arrival of fall on Friday. Not Friday, Monday. What was I saying? All right, let's get you out the door with a live look at the roads, and we start off with drive times that are all in red. Red, not good, not great anyway. The drive-in from Wilsonville leads the way at 45 minutes to get you in from Wilsonville Road to downtown. Here's a live look at Capitol, or just north of Capitol Highway near the Twilliger curves. We had some earlier trouble on the Markham Bridge. That's out of the way, but the drive obviously still suffering a bit there. I-5 from Clark County, this is a little misleading. The 33 minutes is more like 31 minutes from the Interstate Bridge. The end of the line has crossed the bridge, but once you get down to the Expo Center, it's like this the rest of the way into town. Drew, China?
Hey, Chris, stay tuned for a piece of fan mail for you in today's birthday list. Yeah, we got to get to that in just a second, but we start the birthday list this morning with Willow. How happy is Willow about celebrating birthday number 1? Big birthday for Willow. Another big birthday here, Lucas. Teenage years are here for Lucas. He turns 13 today. Eric is next, also a teenager, celebrating birthday number 17 in Gresham. And then we've got Jefferson, who's 47 today, jamming to the jukebox there on the shoulder, or the boom box, I should say. So Chris McGinnis, Jefferson's wife, told us that this man is a huge fan of yours.
Love you, Jefferson.
Oh, look at that.
Tell a friend.
Jefferson, happy birthday to you, you Chris McGinnis lover, you. If you have a birthday shout out that you want us to share on the air, send us an email. The address is birthdays@kgw.com.
And listen to this, Sunset High School's Jason Galbraith has been named one of Oregon's 16 Regional Teachers of the Year. He's taught computer science and engineering at Sunset High for 18 years and is known for his empowering his students. Regional winners each receive a $1,000 cash prize and move forward in the running for Oregon's Teacher of the Year award. Now, that will be announced sometime next month. Congratulations, Jason. We'll be right back.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
In our top stories this morning, a Longview homeless village will close October 1st after 3 years of operation. The site has been funded by taxpayers and grants, but the city now wants a provider that can bill Medicaid instead. The Salvation Army, which has been running the site, doesn't qualify, so their contract was terminated. The city hasn't been able to find new operation that disqualify, so the village is shutting down. The U.S. Justice Department is taking Oregon and Maine to court, accusing both states of breaking federal law. The Trump administration says secretaries of state of both states refused to hand over voter data at the DOJ's request. The DOJ alleges that violates the National Voter Registration Act, the Help America Vote Act, and the Civil Rights Act of 1960. And Oregon lawmakers have delayed a vote on the long-debated transportation funding bill. The special session will now wrap up between September 29th and October 1st as Democrats wait for Senator Chris Gorsuch to recover from back surgery. Without his vote, they don't think that the bill will pass. And even if it does, Democrats admit it's only a short-term funding fix.
Cooler today. We keep the sunshine, but we drop the high temperatures a good 8 to 12 degrees across the Willamette Valley from yesterday's hot stuff. 81 this afternoon, and then morning clouds, afternoon sunshine on Thursday. The rest of our forecast looks dry until late Saturday night or early Sunday. Your drive still needs some help. Help those folks out. I-5 near the Expo Center is still really slow on that side of town. You're tripping from Vancouver, still about 37 minutes from Main Street to the Fremont Bridge. And the drive from the other side of town, getting, if you can believe it, 40 minutes from Wilsonville is an improvement from where we were just a little bit ago. Still pretty slow.
Definitely an improvement from this time yesterday. It was pretty bad yesterday, too.
Yeah, it was.
All right, we've got some entertainment news for you. Coachella announcing next year's headliners. So they include someone I definitely know, Justin Bieber.
There you go.
Someone I think I've heard of, Sabrina Carpenter. I feel like I know that name at least. And someone I know nothing about, Colombian singer Karol G. You familiar with Karol G's body of work?
I know who she is, but...
Okay. All right. Well, the California Music Festival will take place over 2 weekends next April, April 10th through 12th and April 17th through 19th. The passes, by the way, go on sale this Friday. So a timely piece of news for you on this Wednesday morning.
I know 2 people aside from those main headliners. I don't know anybody anymore.
I mean, Justin Bieber's a pretty big deal. They get for the Coachella, right?
Is it enough to get you to go?
No.
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 We will not be getting sponsored by Coachella.
No. That's not going to happen. Hey, reminder that you can watch us here on Sunrise every day on KGW Plus starting at 7 o'clock. Have a great Wednesday.